Hello, welcome back to another tutorial. So in this video, what we're going to look at doing is working with a different type of tool. So we're going to, at the moment, we've concentrated on a lot of standard primitives. In this video, we're going to look at utilizing splines in our workflow. So we're going to use this to build some robot arms. Firstly, I'm going to start with a cylinder. I'm going to use the auto grid feature. Going to select and draw on sort of like a arm socket, I suppose. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm going to right click just to be off the canvas. It should, 3ds Max should do a good job of remembering the settings. So you can see we've got quite high poly counts here. Now, we're not worried about optimizing this at this stage. And the reason for that is just simply because it's an introductory course. And perhaps later on in other courses, we'll worry about optimization. With this now, let's grab the align tool. We're going to just align this. Definitely don't want the X position. Want the Y, not the Z. I'm happy with that. There we go. That's nice and central to there now. Now what we want to do is I want to add a cap segment to this. And I am going to just turn down those sides ever so slightly so I can see what's going on a little bit better. So there we go. Turn these down. That'll suffice for now. We can always add more a little bit later on. Okay, cool. So what we want to do now is I'm going to go to create and I'm going to create a spline. So I'm going to click, instead of geometry, I'm going to click splines. What I'm going to do is just create a line. Now for these to work, you've got to be, it's best working in orthographic view. So I'm going to press T to jump into my top view. And I'm going to get this roughly where I want it. I'm going to ensure auto grid is turned off. And that way, we can just pretty much draw to the bottom of the grid. Now, depending on how you want this sort of spline and how you envision the arms, will determine your type of look here. I'm going to go for like sort of a curvy tentacle type arm. For the robot, so it's going to be a little bit curved, maybe curved forward here. So for that, I'm going to use a smoother spline option. I'm going to have the Bezier drag type on. I'm going to click from here and drag this out. So I'm using the left mouse button, and then you'll see that it starts to bend. So we can get like a bit of a bend on it. So as I say, I'm just going to create some wiggly arms, nothing too special. Something maybe like that. Once I've finished and I'm happy with that, I'm going to right click just to close that spline off. So we've got a nice little wiggle there. I'm going to go back into perspective view by clicking P, back into the perspective view by clicking P, and then we can just align this up to where we want our arm to be. You can edit the spline. So here you might want to have this a bit more naturally curved. We can go into modify. We can grab the points themselves and we can actually move these points and tweak them a little bit. And you can see here where, you know, I'm free to sort of mess around, sort of tweak these into the position that I'd like them to be. Something maybe like that. Once that's done, in the rendering options, you can hit enable in viewport, press the wrong one, and you'll see I'll get a cylinder. From there, I can change this thickness, so I can actually increase that thickness amount to give it a nice sort of bulky arm. And I can also increase the side segments as well to make sure it's smooth and rounded. I think that's pretty good. That's what I wanted to achieve. Now what I'm going to do for the front section, I'm going to come back into geometry. I'm going to use a cylinder. I'm going to use auto grid. I'm going to select our area here. Now, if you see on here at the minute, it's not actually letting me select anything. And the reason for that is because this is not actual geometry at the moment. We're just enabling it as a sort of preview mode, okay? So for us to have workable geometry on this, what we're going to have to do is right click, convert to editable poly. Now you'll see that the spline on the right hand side disappears. Okay, so now we're getting into sort of editable polys and stuff, and there's a bunch of different options here. If you wanted to keep your spline and work in a non-destructive way, I'm just going to press Ctrl Z. You can access this modifier list, and if you type in edit poly, you'll see you can add an edit poly to the model. Now that should allow us to create a cylinder auto grid on the surface, and yep, it's done that beautifully. And now I can have sort of that circle there. Can move this into position best that I can, get it roughly aligned up where I want it. There we go. And then I can increase the height, make it a little bit thicker. Then what I'm going to do is I'm now going to add a sphere. I'm going to add a sphere to this. There we go. Just going to right click, and again, I'm just going to move this to a decent position. Should go on nicely for us. Something a little like that. And then finally, I'm going to use box tool. I'm going to have a box, and we're going to attempt to draw on this surface here. Now, at this point, it might be best just to switch to a front view, or indeed maybe a left view. So I'm going to hit the front view is F or L for the left view. So you can see here, remember to view the viewports you're in. If you accidentally rotate in here, you'll see that view changes to orthographic. Now, if I just turn off the wireframe control, so I'm going to click F3, you'll see that you get an isometric view of the robot. Now, it looks pretty cool, and it might be something that you want to go for in terms of the graphics and the stylization of it. However, in terms of modeling, it's always best to sort of view it in perspective so you can see the depth. So just make sure you're in P anytime that you do that. And again, just use L and check your viewports, okay? So check your viewports respectively. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw this rectangle out to something like this. I'm going to press P to go into perspective view again, and I'm going to just move this into a rough position where I'd like it to be. So that's pretty cool. Let's go into modify. I'm going to modify sort of the width and height maybe. Have a look. Yeah, something like that. And rotate that now to a rough angle. Eyeball this. Want it about there. And I'm going to rotate it up. Now, the problem is when I rotate this now, it's going to be off center. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the rotation at reference coordinates, and we're going to do local. And that'll rotate this locally based on its orientation. And again, I'm able to move this locally. I'm doing the same thing, changing the reference coordinate system. And then what I'll do is I'm going to create a copy, have it as an instance, use the rotate tool again, rotate this down and position here. So we'll create another piece here as well. So you've just got some hands to sort of grab with, sort of overlapping. It's not a big issue. And I'll do the same for this section. Grab that, rotate, and use movement there. There we go. We've got some arms. So all that's left to do is assign some colors. Let's add black here. Probably do grey, metallic look. Oops. Grey to that. Now this one to be black. Again, this will be grey for sort of a metal. These will be now. So I've got a robot. If we press F4, see starting to build up. It's got little arms, which is pretty cool. And then we can copy these across. So let's grab these sections here. So I'm going to select them all. I'm going to change the reference coordinate system back to view. Hold shift, move across. I'm going to do these as an instance. So any changes will update to both. I forgot one of the pieces there. So I'm just going to go back and select that. Do it as an instance. mirror that now. So we're going to use the mirror tool. Should be transform. Let's see, X. Okay. Bit off. Grab that. Move it into position. Again, there are easier ways to do this, but get used to the basics. Let's change that reference coordinate system, local. Move this back to where we need it. And pretty good. Got a robot with some arms, some sort of little pipe arms or something like that. So yeah, give that a go. See if you can create yourselves some simple geometry, and you know, add some hands, get a bit creative with it. And I'll see you in the next video.